What's going on, everybody? What's going on, Bears fans? Are the Bears back? Are the Bears back? Welcome to another exciting edition of the Bear Necessities Podcast. I'm John Prisnowski. Thanks for joining me on this fun and interesting journey that we find ourselves in. So let's get it started. I'm going to give you guys my 5 takeaways from Sunday's game and what are we essentially looking forward to close off this last quarter of the season, these last 4 games. And the first takeaway, and it's got so many people conflicted in this city. It's been the talk of town these last couple of days, and we're going to get to the quarterback. But let's start first with the head coach. Do we need to reconsider Mr. Eberflus, your boy, as head coach, your defensive guru, whatever you want to call him? Bears have won back-to-back games under Matt Eberflus for the first time in his career. They beat a very, very good 9-win Detroit Lions team. They should have beaten them twice. This is the second time in 3 weeks that your Bears have outplayed a Detroit Lions team. I mean, very easily we could be talking about the Bears winning 4 in a row at this point if they didn't blow that big lead in Detroit 3 weeks ago. But again, they've outplayed Detroit several times in the last 3 weeks, and they finally were able to close out a game on the lakefront here on Soldier Field with that decisive victory. So, going back to Eberflus really quick, obviously this defense has been playing lights out. If Eberflus' staff continues to improve and showcase that they can finish out games, what does the future mean for him in Chicago? Do we still want a head coach? What about a dreamlike scenario where Eberflus, just moves on over permanently to that defensive coordinator position and the Bears still hire somebody to come in and be the head coach of this team? Would that be enough to satisfy most Bears fans? I'm going to give my perspective. I'm going to give my take on it because a lot of people feel still very conflicted, and this is how I truly feel. What really bothers me under his leadership, you wish you can throw out that first quarter of the season. Starting 0-4, in my opinion, is still unacceptable. There is so much hype, so much optimism coming into that first week against Green Bay, and our team came out flat. I mean, they came out flat for the first few weeks of the season. Who does that fall under? Mr. Eberflus. It still doesn't sit well with me, and I know it feels good that this team is finally winning. It seems like they finally turned the corner. We have seen progress around the roster. You can give credit to Eberflus for that defense. I get it. And winning is great now, but let's say the team finishes these last 4 games with a 2-2 record. They split these last 4 games. Maybe they go 1-3. You can easily argue that this team still needs to develop more of a sustained winning culture, something I've talked about exclusively the last couple episodes. And will we ever get that under this defensive coordinator turned head coach that still, when he goes up to the podium, sounds like a complete doofus? To me, he still seems a little bit in over his head. We're 26 short days away from finding out whether or not Eberflus is to remain the head coach of the Bears moving forward. But hey, winning's great. Winning's cool. You do your job. You win on the road in a tough, hostile environment next week in Cleveland. Eberflus might start having my nod of approval. What do you guys think the Bears should do with Eberflus as head coach? Montez Sweat. This guy continues to show what a great addition he's been to this Bears defense. You want to look back at the trade on Halloween weekend, ridiculed by so many NFL experts that the Bears are in over their heads, and why did they trade one of their great draft assets, getting this guy? Well, ever since Montez Sweat has joined the team, this defense has been top 10 in almost every NFL statistical category you want to name. The guy's got 3.5 sacks already as a Bear. So he's got 10 on the season. That's a career high. They give him the contract extension. What more do you want? For all the people that have bashed Ryan Poles and bashed the Bears for making this dumb trade, I get what happened. Last season, right before the trade deadline, you trade away your second-round pick for Chase Claypool. Obviously, that was a big swing and miss. This is different. This was an aggressive trade made by your general manager, Ryan Poles, and it seems to be working. Seems to be lifting an entire defensive unit, especially that defensive line that still really needs some help. But Your boy Yannick Ngakoue, Justin Jones, Javon Dexter, all got sacks on Sunday against Jared Goff. So having number 98, have a big number 98 on this roster, again, has just given this defense just a major lift in confidence. I did not see fire and passion out of this unit in the first half of the season. But ever since 98 came into this lineup, week 9 in New Orleans in the Superdome, this team has just been playing balls out on defense. Like, offenses have had a tough time figuring out ways to carve up this Bears defense. They're not perfect. They're far from great. But what an addition. And for all the experts that claimed that the Bears were so foolish for doing this trade, I mean, literally, give the two double big birds to yourselves, because what an awful take. Honestly, I love that Ryan Poles was aggressive and tried to find a way to improve one of the worst units in all of football and made this defense just so much better at the deadline. You simply are not going to find a Montez Sweat just laying around in the second round of the draft this upcoming year. It's just not going to happen. So screw all the NFL experts for thinking that the Bears are so dumb for making this trade. Montez Sweat has been the real deal. Let's talk about the quarterbacks, shall we? Let's get it over with here. Justin Fields, he wasn't great on Sunday, but he did make enough plays to win the game. And at the end of the day, that's all we really ask of Justin, right? In my opinion, Sunday was essentially a microcosm of Justin's young career. Was it his best game of the season? Absolutely not. What is his worst game? No way. No way. The guy finished with 19 for 33, 223 yards through the air. Also picked up 58 yards on the ground, a passing touchdown, and a rushing touchdown. Finished with a QBR rating of 88.3. Pretty solid, right? I mean, Justin has plays every Sunday, every week, where he extends plays with his legs. He shows his God-given ability. I mean, what an incredible athlete. The Bears have never had a guy like Justin Fields playing quarterback. We've never seen talent like this before at that position. But he also has some plays that make you want to pull your goddamn hair out. Holding on to the ball for too long, not hitting guys that are clearly open, gripping and ripping the football. 3-step drop, throw it. Need to see more of that. But at the end of the day, guys, he was solid when he needed to be. And no matter what you think of Justin these last couple games, I mean, obviously Minnesota, but on Sunday, he didn't turn the ball over, not once. That's 2 games in a row also that Justin's put this team in a position to finish and to close out a game. And at the end of the day, as Bears fans, that's all that really matters. Wins in the column. So obviously the talk around town, the talk around Chicago continues to be, what do the Bears do with that number 1 pick that Carolina has right now at 1-12 on the season? Do they keep Justin? Do they build around him, or do they go out and get the generational type prospect in Caleb Williams or Drake May? I don't think the Bears know any more than we do what they're going to do with Justin. And one thing's for sure, I do not envy Ryan Poles' position right now. Yes, he's sitting on a wealth of assets right now and so much salary cap. It's a great position to be in, but also the guy's going to get crucified one way or another in this franchise-altering decision to figure out what the Bears are going to do. What route do they take? So, bottom line, I think it's perfectly fine. We all root for Justin down this final stretch, these last 4 games of the season. But it's also okay to still, strive for better at the quarterback position for this Bears team. It's okay to want the Bears to be better at the quarterback position, but still root for Justin at the same time. I understand analytically what it would be like to pass on a Caleb Williams and to watch him break and achieve so much success in this league, like many experts believe he will. But at the end of the day, you and me both, friends, I would never, ever, ever forgive this franchise for letting Justin Fields walk and to watch him shine for another franchise, to watch another true coaching staff untap his true potential in this league. That's my honest to God biggest fear, is to watch him succeed for another franchise. So again, what should the Bears do here? What would you do if you guys were in Ryan Poles' shoes? We're going to be talking about this for weeks on end, and I don't think we're any close to an answer than we are today. It should be an exciting finish, and it should be a really exciting offseason, figuring out what the hell are the Bears to do. I know one thing's for sure. DJ Moore, that man is one elite playmaker. And in my opinion, one of the best receivers the Bears have ever had in franchise history. When in doubt, just dial it up to DJ. Doesn't matter if it's a run, a pass, a screen, a long bomb. The top receiver for the Bears, the guy does it all. He continues to show he literally will do whatever it takes when he gets the call. He obviously had that great opening drive touchdown, that first rushing touchdown of his career, that little nifty fake end around on that opening drive. Credit to Luke Getsy. The last couple of games, the Bears have had very impressive opening drives. Very impressive opening drives. Great play calls. If only we can sustain that success for the whole game. But let's go back to Mr. Moore for a second. Second half, he caught 6 of 10 targets for 68 yards, including that fourth down bomb, that 38-yard touchdown from Justin on that free play where the Detroit Lions defender went off sides. But besides the point, there's a good chance DJ Moore finishes the season with one of the best receiving campaigns in Bears history. But his impact, to me, it goes beyond the stats. His chemistry with Justin, it's unmatched. His leadership, I think, is pivotal to this young roster, this young developing team. He continues to show just what an athlete, what an incredible playmaker he is. And the guy does whatever is asked of him. I called it earlier on in the offseason. I'm going to say it again. I really think a Pro Bowl season is in line for number 2. It looks more and more likely. And I'm so glad that the Bears went out and got this man, because he has paid dividends for this offense. And you finally can see, Bears fans, what it's like to have a true number 1 receiver. So we find ourselves at a very interesting crossroad. The Bears control their own destiny with these 4 games left. So the Bears are 3-1 in their last 4 games. They easily should be 4-0 on a really nice winning streak if they didn't blow that game in Detroit a couple weeks ago. They're 5-4 in their last 9. It seems like this team has finally turned the corner. It seems like this team is finally in the best stretch playing football in the last 2.5 years for this franchise. You finally are seeing this visible progress in nearly every area of this football team. They're finally playing together, all 3 cylinders, offense, defense, and special teams. They're all playing complementary football, which is everything that we wanted, right? This could be the stretch that not only saves Matt Eberflus's job, but Justin Fields' as well. And with the New York Giants win last night over Green Bay, the Bears are only 1 game out. They're 1 game out for tying that last wild card spot in the NFC, entering Week 15. And this Bears team, this is the same Bears team that's entering this offseason. If it ended right now, they would have the number 1 pick and the 5th overall pick, their own, in the upcoming NFL draft. So the last 4 games of the schedule: at Cleveland this Sunday, following that 2 home games back-to-back against the Arizona Cardinals, the Atlanta Falcons, 2 very winnable games at home that the Bears have upcoming for them, and then a road game against Green Bay at Lambeau Field. So does this team have enough juice, have enough firepower, have enough momentum down the final stretch here? Is 2-2 these last 4 games, is that enough to save Matt Eberflus's job? Can the Bears potentially win out? I mean, are we actually buying that scenario? Can this team actually prove and shock the world and prove that they do belong as one of the wild card teams in the NFC? But what if this team, again, finishes 2-2? Would that be enough to save Matt Eberflus's job? I'm going to give you guys a couple of my thoughts right now. A couple of my thoughts, just right off the top. I think it's okay to be excited right now. It feels good, right? Again, this is the best stretch that this football team has played in the last 2 seasons. We're not used to this. We're not used to back-to-back wins. We're not used to back-to-back division wins under Matt Eberflus. So it's great to see this progress. It's great to see this young roster develop before our very eyes. But I'm also a realist. And I'm not going to try and get ahead of myself and create these fairy tale-like scenarios in my head. Because being a Bears fan, I know better. I know better to do that to myself. If this team somehow finds a way to finish strong, do we actually really think they have a chance to make that final wildcard roster spot? The Bears would have to go into Lambeau Field and beat Green Bay, their bitter division rivals, the same team that, again, they have not beaten Green Bay up at Lambeau Field since 2015. I'm going to remain positively optimistic about this team's future, but I'm not fully going to drink the Kool-Aid quite yet. I'm not going to do that to myself. In my opinion, this team is still pretty far away from competing at a high level against the really good contending teams in this league. I don't need to name those teams. I think you know who a lot of those teams are. But I'd be lying to you guys if I said that this Bears team is a lot closer to competing at a high level week in and week out than some might think. And for me, honestly, that's tremendous progress. And I will say, I gotta tip my hat to Coach Eberflus, who easily could have mailed the season in after starting 0-4. Easily could have mailed the season in, but his guys have been playing very, very hard. And that alone is noteworthy, and it's good enough for my approval right now. And, like I mentioned before, in a perfect world, I would love to keep Eberflus, just slide him on over to defensive coordinator, not have him go up and deliver these awkward press conferences that he's just so fucking bad at, and still bring in a guy like Jim Harbaugh to completely change this culture. And for him to bring in a real, true offensive coach to unleash all this potential of Justin Fields and the rest of this offense, because we've seen it. This offense has talent. We can move the ball, but we have to put it together. It has to be a final product, and I don't think we've seen what that final product really can look like. We've seen flashes, but can they sustain that for weeks and weeks on end? Your boy can dream, right? Your boy can dream of that scenario of Eberflus shifting over and Harbaugh coming in, but obviously that's not realistic. But in order for Eberflus to stay with this team, it starts this upcoming week in Cleveland against a true and tough-nosed defense in the Cleveland Browns. Can the Bears take care of business on the road in a really hostile environment against an 8-win team? And yes, the Browns have Joe Flacco starting for them at quarterback, the Joe Flacco, but make no mistake, this Browns team's for real. And they got talent on their roster. And they're going to find ways to really confuse Justin Fields in this offense. A big, big test this weekend. So we can jump to all these hypotheticals on what Ryan Poles in the front office and, what needs to be done this offseason to make the Bears formidable again. This team still has 4 games left to show a lot of things on tape. And we all, I think, just need to just take a chill pill, remain level-headed, and understand that it's okay, that this team still needs some work, and it's okay. Nothing is going to be certain until the end of Week 18 when we see that there's going to be a lot more clear picture that lies ahead. But for all of us to jump to all these conclusions right now on December 12th with 4 games left, I'm not there yet, and neither should you guys. There's a lot that still needs to happen. Let's remain positive. Let's remain optimistic. And don't forget to bear down. Thank you guys so much for joining the episode. Appreciate all the love and support. If you guys could like my YouTube channel, subscribe, would mean the world to me. And it's going to be an exciting finish, exciting home stretch for the Bears these last 4. Will it be enough to save Eberflus's job? Will it be enough to keep Justin Fields? We're about to find out. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate it.
A team that is known as the Bears.
The Bears.